think, Marge. All I need is a title.
Take the red pill. Go down the rabbit hole and I'll show you how far it goes.
The CIA in the 60s, I'm going to cover this history later, they developed the term conspiracy theory for pseudo-intellectuals that get hurt by learned men and women. Everyone's having their water poisoned. Everyone's having deadly vaccines pushed on them. Everyone is having weaponized television aimed at them. Pizzagate is real. Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake. Vegas is as phony as a $3 bill or as Obama's birth certificate. The attacks in Orlando were a false flag terror attack. That's what a false flag is, and we've never had one so open and shut as Oklahoma City. I am the person that popularized the term false flag. Radical Islam is being funded and protected by our government. I'm not bragging, but I am the first guy to officially say it was coming 2 months before it happened. I said they're going to blow up the World Trade Centers, blame it on their asset, bin Laden. It's all on record. And they plan to fly Flight 93, ladies and gentlemen, into the Capitol. But the Air National Guard from the Dakotas on drill in Virginia flew into Pennsylvania and refused orders and fired. The general refused orders, and I was told this by high-level Pentagon. I was told this by Colonel Don de Grand Prix, and they killed him a couple weeks after he was on. He died of a heart attack 2 weeks after being on the show. You think I'm happy that there's about a 98% chance they killed Scalia? Vaccines are a great medical development. The problem is the New World Order runs them and jacks them full of stuff and is pushing way too many of them on people. I mean, what time zone or time warp did I enter, man? Where the TVs are watching you, the Pokemon's a drone spy. It's an interdimensional interloper programmed to come in here as a vector to bring in the really bad stuff that's going to destroy us.
I don't understand how a heart is a spade, but somehow the connection is made.
So I was bopping around the internet yesterday, and people started asking if I, amongst other people, knew about what happened to Alex Jones. Alex Jones is known for being a long-time, nearly insane conspiracy theorist who originally gained fame when he protested a meeting of globalist types in Canada. After that, he moved on, frequently appearing on Coast to Coast, the radio show founded and hosted by Art Bell until Bell died in April of 2018. Coast to Coast has since permanently been hosted by George Norrie, and the show has frequently played host to Alex Jones and his wild conspiracy theories, such as his support for the chemtrails theory, or the fantasy that the government was using their communications network in Alaska, known as HAARP, as a mind control device to affect American citizens, amongst other wild subversive ideas. Most recently, Jones has been the butt of ridicule over his explosion about a so-called gay bomb that was detonated in Iraq to make the people living there gay. Jones was not too happy about some of the supposed side effects of this bomb.
If you're a new listener, just type in Pentagon tested gay bomb on Iraq. They didn't consider using it. They've used it on our troops.
A side effect of these weapons of mass homosexuality is that the runoff chemicals in the water are turning the frogs gay.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
We're not sure how he knows the true feelings of our amphibian friends, but we'll take his word for it. Either way, Alex Jones clearly won't stand for it anymore.
Serious crap. I'm sick of being social engineered. It's not funny.
So anyone even distantly familiar with Alex Jones's work or his various websites such as Prison Planet or Infowars, amongst others, consider him to be weird, hateful, or insane. With the emergence of the internet in the last couple of decades, Jones happily joined in and established several websites to peddle his conspiracy theories. This included sites on such platforms as YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, and iTunes. However, as Phillip DeFranco puts it, the people running these platforms had to know what they were getting with Jones.
I'm personally surprised it took so long for Alex Jones and Infowars to be banned. I am hyper aware of how incredibly hilariously memeable Alex Jones is, whether it be, they're turning the frogs gay or any of the other stuff. And the unfortunate side effect of that is we kind of minimize or normalize this person as kind of this ridiculous court jester, even though we're talking about this person with a massive audience who has put out massive fake news like calling Sandy Hook a hoax. And if I was in YouTube's position, YouTube was mine, I would not have given my megaphone to him. But as far as my personal opinion of am I happy to see those guys gone, I'm honestly still trying to battle it out in my head. On one side of my brain, I have to acknowledge that all of these tech companies, they are private companies, they are well within their rights to remove someone from their platform, and it is not a violation of the First Amendment. They are deciding if they are going to give you their megaphone or not. And it appears that all of the companies are doing all of this. The conversation is not about fake news, because the argument there could always be, we thought we had it right, we had it wrong, or there's a certain thing that it's up for debate or it's an opinion. Whereas with harassment, you're not saying if something is true or not, you're just protecting someone, right? The argument there is that you're removing an abuser, right? And in response to this, all the people that love Alex Jones and or Infowars, they may never use these services ever again, right? The free market decides, all of a sudden those people go, I don't want to support your private company, I'm going to go directly to him and support his private company.
So people started complaining and videos and other files started being removed, probably without notification to the user, since that's how things are apparently done. Then, early on Monday morning, Alex Jones and his internet media platform were hit hard, as YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and iTunes each removed a massive amount of Alex Jones-related content from their pages, as Phillip DeFranco detailed.
In recent weeks, tech companies and streaming services have been removing content from Alex Jones and Infowars. Last week, we saw Spotify remove some of Alex Jones' Infowars podcasts, saying they contain hate speech. Last month, we saw Facebook remove 4 videos from Jones-affiliated pages, as well as suspending Jones from posting on the site for 30 days. And here, they cited violations of its bullying and hate speech policies. And on YouTube, we saw them take down 4 videos from Jones' channel, saying they violated its policies on hate speech and child endangerment. And now, over the weekend, things have ramped up. Apple joined in, removing Alex Jones' content from iTunes and its podcasting apps, specifically confirming they removed the entire library of 5 of Infowars' 6 podcasts, including The Alex Jones Show and War Room. And Apple released a statement saying, Apple does not tolerate hate speech, and we have clear guidelines that creators and developers must follow to ensure we provide a safe environment for all of our users. Podcasts that violate these guidelines are removed from our directory, making them no longer searchable or available for download or streaming. We believe in representing a wide range of views so long as people are respectful to those with differing opinions. And following Apple's announcement, Facebook this morning announced that they had removed 4 Alex Jones and Infowars pages. And as far as the reason for removal, the company said, we're glorifying violence, which violates our graphic violence policy, and using dehumanizing language to describe people who are transgender, Muslims, and immigrants, which violates our hate speech policies. Facebook also saying that they removed the pages after receiving an unspecified number of additional reports of community standards violations. And the company also clarified that the removal was not related to fake news complaints, saying, while much of the discussion around Infowars has been related to false news, which is a serious issue that we are working to address by demoting links marked wrong by fact checkers and suggesting additional content, none of the violations that spurred today's removals were related to this. And today, joining Facebook, we also saw Spotify removing every episode of The Alex Jones Show from its platform. Before, they had just removed some, now all. And as far as the reasoning here, a spokesperson for the company said, due to repeated violations of Spotify's prohibited content policies, The Alex Jones Show has lost access to the Spotify platform. Now, following these moves and announcements, we saw Infowars editor-at-large Paul Joseph Watson posting several tweets this morning, calling this a chilling precedent for free speech, saying this is coordinated big tech censorship, saying this is a coordinated move ahead of the midterms to help Democrats. Additionally, we saw Alex Jones tweeting this morning, asking what conservative news outlet will be next. And I thought for at least today, that is where this story ended, but as I was recording this story, YouTube has now banned Alex Jones. And this coming after reportedly last month, where Jones received a strike on his YouTube channel after posting videos that were said to contain hate speech against Muslim and transgender people, as well as including footage of a child being shoved to the ground. And so as a result of that, his live streaming privileges were suspended for 90 days, but Jones reportedly attempted to circumvent the suspension by live streaming on other channels. So then YouTube removed his channel and issued the statement saying all users agree to comply with our terms of service and community guidelines when they sign up to use YouTube. When users violate these policies repeatedly, like our policies against hate speech and harassment or our terms prohibiting circumvention of our enforcement measures, we terminate their accounts.
Alex Jones responded to this, and we'll play the entire response because I believe in getting both sides of the story, and I want to give you a taste of Alex Jones uncut, so to speak.
We knew it was coming. The whole thing was formulaic. First, demonize Infowars, lie about us, build a straw man, then sue us to add credibility to that, then have a few fake strikes on YouTube and Facebook with nebulous terms like bullying children and Islamophobia. And then voila, 2 weeks later, ban Infowars completely off of dozens of major platforms where we were all in the top 5 or top 10 news feeds. CNN, MSNBC, the rest of the dying news system like the New York Times and the Washington Post groups that are propped up by the Mexican kingpin in the case of the New York Times, Carlos Slim, in the case of the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos. They can't allow something like Infowars with a fraction of the crew or the money to be ranked higher than them on iTunes or on YouTube. They can't stand it when people like Mark Dice has more subscribers on his channel, he doesn't work for Infowars, but he's an example of it, than CNN. And so their answer is have CNN, the New York Times, BuzzFeed, and all these other corrupt organizations openly lobby for us to be removed and then organize their listeners, their viewers, the different university organizations, Antifa, Sleeping Giants, and a bunch of other groups to then go mass flag us in the community guidelines, which again is something out of 1984 or a Kafka novel where you don't even know what you've supposedly done, you can't face your accusers, then you get defamed by the claims of the big tech giants when they ban you. Make no mistake, this is being set up to create a precedent, in their own words, for you, nationalists, conservatives, libertarians, Christians, people that stand up to the New York Times editorial board member saying whites are subhuman and should be extincted. This is the agenda they're pushing that is being funded by Communist China. And out of everything I've broken down so far, that's the key. Apple has officially moved to China and is letting the government basically run Apple. And that, of course, is iTunes. Google is building a huge censorship search engine for them, and whistleblowers from inside Google say they're preparing to use it here in America. In fact, they're beta testing different parts of the censorship system for China on American conservatives, nationalists, and Trump supporters. So bigger than just trying to manipulate the election and give huge contributions in kind to the Democrats by blocking conservatives, libertarians, conservative candidates, conservatives in office, and trying to make sure they can win back the House and try to impeach Trump. That's only one part of it. The bigger issue is they don't like Infowars exposing the fact in great detail that Communist China owns our debt, owns and controls Hollywood now, is involved in massive domestic propaganda operations, and is working with the Democratic Party and with the EU and others to try to block the Trump agenda. They even talk about this at Davos. So this is 21st century warfare. It's happening right now, and it's designed to silence the American people and other populist movements around the world who are trying to struggle free from this corporate totalitarianism. I've had a lot of top lawyers call me today, and they say, Alex, we need to sue Apple, we need to sue all these groups. They clearly are involved in cut and dry antitrust activities, working with other big corporations to delist you and block you from the marketplace of ideas, so then when they demonize you, you don't have a way to respond to them and they can destroy you. And then with that model, move on against everybody else. Almost 5 months ago, the Wall Street Journal had the new CEO of News Corp brag that by 2019, the internet will be basically paid. He said, Barry Diller's also said this as well, he owns Newsweek, so that's a Democrat on the other side, that the internet will be paid soon. Watch, believe me, he said, because they're setting the precedent to deplatform Infowars and WikiLeaks as the test point example, and once they've done that, they're doing it to everybody. Now, what do we need to do? We need to call the White House, go to Trump's rallies, call the campaign, let them know that this is about deplatforming conservatives and libertarians and other Republican candidates around the country to steal the election. It's true election meddling, not like the made-up Russia meddling garbage. This is out in the open and naked. And the Democrats have been very, very public about it. So if we simply have real congressional hearings about this, where I'm called and others are called, they will be exposed. They've had a bunch of hearings lying about me, saying that I need to be deplatformed, but I'm never there to actually speak for myself. This is completely one-sided and totally deceptive because they can't handle me being there. So again, they secretly report you, they defame you, they lie about you, and then you never get to see what you've done or face your accuser. This is the essence of totalitarianism. And President Trump, the Republican Congress, the state houses, independent media all need to rally together against this global move to censor America and the planet. Because if you look at what Facebook, Google, Apple, and all of them are doing right now, it's mirroring the EU censorship. And why is that? The EU has been fining them billions of dollars if they don't get in line on hate speech and fake news, which is whatever Brussels and the unelected bureaucrats say it is. So it's China, the EU, and others muscling in on America with all these global regulations, trying to force their will on us. France is passing laws to shut down populists. Brazil's passing laws to shut down populists. Whether they be left-wing or right-wing, they don't want the people having control of their own destiny. This is modern global corporate colonialism against every nation state on the planet, be you first world, old world, or be you a third world nation. This is history. It's happening now, and we're the tip of the spear at newswars.com, prisonplanet.com, and infowars.com. And in closing, the number one thing you can do past standing up to this and getting informed and informing others is to simply go to infowars.com/show, subscribe to the free podcast. Just click on the link, whatever you're subscribing your podcast in, it'll pop up there. It's also critical to go to infowars.com/newsletter and give us your email so that we can stay in contact with you and send you videos and articles on our own platform that are being censored so you can get them out to others. But whatever you do, tell folks about infowars.com/show, how they can download the free Android and iPhone apps, how they can then reach out to others with the information and point out, this is the verboten info. This is what they don't want you to see. You're an adult. You deserve to hear what all the hubbub's about. You deserve to hear what the establishment is so desperate to silence so you can make your own decision. Infowars.com, newswars.com, tomorrow's news today. Listen, I was never trying to win a popularity contest. I've been trying to get Americans and others to think outside the box and realize what's happening, and we've been very successful. I've expected to be attacked. I didn't know we'd be the very tip of the spear, but it's happened. So now Infowars is the banner of free speech, the renaissance in Western culture and civilization. And it's more important than ever that folks realize that the dominoes are beginning to fall against your cherished free speech, and you'll lose everything else if you don't stand up for it now. Infowars is trending the top of Twitter right now, and we've got record traffic at Infowars and Newswars. But they think in a few days you'll forget about it. Then they'll move on to the next target, and the next target, and the next target. Notice they would only partially ban us here, partially ban us there. They would cry wolf they were going to ban us until when they finally banned us, they're hoping you're not paying attention. They're hoping you're stupid. They're hoping you believe the fake narratives about us and the lies they've said about us where I'm this bad guy that's done this or that. The New York Times were the main group manufacturing fake evidence of WMDs that then caused millions of Iraqis to die from starvation and war. And so many other sick, evil things. They helped lie about babies being thrown out of the incubators that never happened. But they'll sit there and sanctimoniously lie about me and say I hurt children, I bully children with no evidence. That's because they're cold-blooded sociopathic scum who've been chosen and picked and prepared to go out and be henchmen and women to control and take down this nation. And they cold-bloodedly believe they've bet on the power structure and they're going to win. CNN, MSNBC, all of them are the very worst of the worst, who are not news organizations, but criminal racketeering combines, by the very definition, out operating to intimidate and attack and control and sabotage and block funds and bring down pro-America organizations. But in the end, we're going to defeat these people, and America and the world is going to be prosperous, and we're going to come through this together.
To be fair, most of the people on the streets of Austin, Texas that Infowars reporter Savannah Hernandez talked to stated that Jones had the right of free speech and should not have been removed from the internet media sites. However, this could be caused by selectively showing mostly views that agree with yours. Hernandez went into an extended argument with a man who disagreed with her, showing, if nothing else, the low standards of journalism expected by Infowars. However, this brings up a couple things. The first is whether it is right for a group of internet media companies to remove a user from their platforms, and if this is an act of censorship. Before we get into that, there's a small item that we must discuss. A lot of people referred to the fact that these removals happened at 3 a.m. in the morning on Monday. However, when you actually look at things, what probably happened was that the conversations about Jones happened over the weekend, and the orders for the removing of the materials was put into the system before the close of business that day. The computers then executed those orders in the early morning, much as banks execute some transactions in the early morning before they open for business for the day. So that part of the story is not much of an issue for me. However, the question of censorship has been thrown out there by YouTubers such as Jaclyn Glenn, who has been the subject of YouTube discipline, air quotes, before. She argues that internet media platforms such as YouTube or Facebook have become so large that they simply are where the societal discourse on politics or ideas takes place, and to prohibit someone from being able to post materials on these platforms diminishes their ability to be heard, and thus free speech is damaged. I don't agree with that point, and I stated that in a number of places, and it is good that we can have this talk in a civil manner. As DeFranco also pointed out in his video, which I will provide a link to down below, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify, and in fact a lot of other places on the internet and the world as a whole, are private companies selling a product or service. YouTube, for example, provides a couple of services. The first is video content distributed to the masses, like this one. The second is advertising space, placed on the really popular channels so that a huge number of people can see the ads. Because of this, YouTube has an interest in making sure that videos don't unjustifiably offend people. And the most general of these guidelines are put down in the terms of service. At some point during the process of creating a channel, you agree to abide by the terms of service and the discipline that comes with violations. YouTube is trying to protect most of its consumers, both the video watchers and the advertisers, from the few rotten apples that would ruin the whole bunch. Let's take this away from social media. It's the NFL preseason, and soon the next run to the Super Bowl will be underway. However, will the fans attending the game want to see this?
Kennedy covering on the play. It'll be second down and 10.
What's that?
And that is tipped high in the air, and it's picked off at the 5-yard line. And stumbling out to the 19-yard line is Clark.
Or this.
On Sunday Night Football, the Washington Redskins starting the game with arms linked, some kneeling during the national anthem. The Oakland Raiders sitting down. From coast to coast, even in London, players sending that message to the president from the football field, linking arms like Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, hundreds kneeling, some raising fists like Giants receiver Odell Beckham Jr. after scoring a touchdown. The players putting on an unprecedented display of solidarity for their league, blasted this weekend by President Trump for allowing them to kneel in protest of racial injustice.
This controversy is in its third year, and the league has tried to answer it, with new policies banning the practice of kneeling during the anthem, practices that were almost immediately rescinded. Meanwhile, fans have shown their opinion of the players who kneel, and attendance at NFL games has gone down over the past couple of years. Some coaches and owners have made it clear that they expect that their players will stand for the national anthem. Are the players' rights being violated? Are they being censored? I would say not at all, because again, the NFL and the individual teams in the league are all privately held companies selling a product, an NFL game, to make a profit. Anything that gets in the way of that or detracts from the fan experience is frowned upon. The players are employees. Once they are on the clock, they don't get to do what they want and act as they please. This is why the league has clothing policies that don't allow players to wear just anything that they'd like. They have to wear the sponsored stuff. Advertisers and fans come to the games expecting a quality NFL product, and kneeling during the national anthem takes away from that experience. In the same way, YouTube and other internet media providers are putting a service out there, and people using these services have certain expectations. All that is wrapped up in the Terms of Service Agreement, which again protects the general community from the bad actors. So Alex Jones and Infowars don't have a leg to stand on there. Where they may have a point is on something that I brought up yesterday and something brought up again by Alex Jones.
And so their answer is have CNN, the New York Times, BuzzFeed, and all these other corrupt organizations openly lobby for us to be removed and then organize their listeners, their viewers, the different university organizations, Antifa, Sleeping Giants, and a bunch of other groups to then go mass flag us in the community guidelines, which again is something out of 1984 or a Kafka novel where you don't even know what you've supposedly done, you can't face your accusers, then you get defamed by the claims of the big tech giants when they ban you. Make no mistake, this is being set up to create a precedent, in their own words, for you, nationalists, conservatives, libertarians, Christians, people that stand up to the New York Times editorial board member saying whites are subhuman and should be extincted. This is the agenda they're pushing that is being funded by Communist China.
I asked, what if YouTube and other internet media sites are violating their own rules? Or as Alex Jones put it, what if this was a result of a massive made-up wave of reportings against his channels and videos? A mass flagging, or a false flagging, if you will.
I am the person that popularized the term false flag.
If that is the case, then Alex Jones has some real basis for protesting what happened. I don't see where this will all lead, given that I am not sure that a court case can be made from it, but if there's a way to do it, I'm sure Alex Jones will find it. However, I and others are right. Alex Jones is not being censored. Censorship is mainly a problem mostly confined to journalists in regards to the government. If you like Alex Jones, you can still find his material. It has not been stricken from the entire internet. However, if a user violates the terms of service or the community guidelines, they should be ready to face the consequences. Now, just because a person or company can do something does not necessarily mean that they should. This idea that internet media platforms don't need to tell you when your account is being removed or your video is being taken down, or they don't have to tell you how you broke what rule you broke, they just tell you that you broke the rules, all of that is complete horseshit, and these policies should be changed. In order to address the situation, people need information, and these policies do anything but give the account holder significant information. Rush Limbaugh and Laura Ingraham both talked about this issue on their shows today, and I think they went a bit big on it, which is not necessarily helpful. Rush asked how long it would be until the libs came after his show or Fox News. Laura stated that these companies are larger than governments, and where does the situation evolve from here? It may very well be that the internet media giants have simply decided to enforce their rules on one user who stepped a little bit over the line one too many times. Then again, it could be the green-skinned lizards of the Illuminati who control our government, trying to control our minds through HARP and the gay bomb.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Well, I saw the thing coming out of the sky. It had a one long horn and one big eye. I commenced to shaking and I said, hooray. It looks like a purple people eater to me. It was a one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater. A one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me.